The woman was a problem. Actually, she was a big problem. She had been hemorrhaging for 12 years, rendering herself and everyone else with whom she came in contact impure and unclean. She needed to be pushed away. She needed to be made to go away. She had no business in the crowd. She had no business pushing her way through and coming into contact with all of those people. She had no business touching them, and certainly she had no business touching Jesus. In doing so, she made all of those people, and even Jesus himself, unclean and impure. She was a problem. She needed to be made to go away. That's what we do with problems. We make them go away. That's certainly what the people in ancient Jerusalem did. If you were a leper, go away. A Samaritan, go away. A hemorrhaging woman, go away. And when the authorities decided that Jesus had become a problem, they went to the ultimate lengths to make him go away. But Jesus never saw people as problems. Never. Not once, not ever. Instead, he saw in each single person that sacred dignity, an expression of God created in God's loving image and likeness. And he reached out to it, and he honored it, and he restored it. The Gospels are a string of these stories of people who their society had labeled problems, coming forward, coming unto Jesus, and never does he ever see them as problems. Not the lepers, not the Samaritans, not Zacchaeus, the tax collector, not the hemorrhaging woman, not the woman at the well, not even the dead girl. A girl, a child, who in this culture would have had no more value than a goat, maybe less. And Jesus never saw another human being as a problem. He always saw them as expressions of God with promise and potential. And he reached out to them, and he loved them, and he restored their dignity. As Christian disciples of this man, this is a cornerstone foundation of our faith. It's what we are all about. Valuing the dignity, honoring the promise of every single person. It's what we're all about. And yet, as we gather in our churches, as we splash our baptismal waters on our faces, as we gather as community and celebrate Holy Communion, our world is awash and adrift with evidence that we are more than willing to see people as problems. Many, many abortions occur because we see people as problems. Likewise, with capital punishment, we put people to death because we see them as problems. The same is true of immigration policy and of all of the controversy over gay rights issues. So many things in our culture that divide us, separate us, and distract us occur because we are willing to see people as problems, and Jesus would have none of it. Never, not once, not ever, was he willing to see people as problems. And we don't just do it at the large policy level. We do it at a very personal level, close in. When we see the struggling young mom exasperated with misbehaving, screaming children at the grocery store or on the airplane or even in church, and we look at her with frustration rather than with empathy and compassion, we reduce her and her children to problems rather than people. When we look at rowdy teenagers with all of their antics, and we see them as behavior problems rather than as sacred souls searching for their identity, we reduce people to problems. And when we look in the mirror, we often do it to ourselves. When we see in ourselves, through critical eyes, our faults and our failings, rather than our giftedness and our potential and our promise, we reduce ourselves to problems rather than sacred people. We have a lot of growth ahead of us, a lot of opportunity to learn and discover. Where do we start? Perhaps we start right here, right now, at the foot of this very altar. When we turn to each other and offer a sign of peace, we are really looking at each other and saying, you know what? You and I are different people. We may not agree on everything. We don't see eye to eye on everything. But that's not a problem. I honor the sacred light within you. And when we come forward as a community to share in Holy Communion, we are saying, I am broken, we are broken, none of us are whole. We are many parts, but together we are one body. Will you be one with me? And will you let me be one with you?